Hello and welcome to this week's episode, and today I'm revisiting episode 2, 1 week in Lubdi in Bangkok, Thailand, but this time with fresh perspective from a return trip in December after Bhutan and over a decade of travel experience behind me. So I first landed in Bangkok in 2013 at the very start of what became a 2-year journey, and honestly it was a complete culture shock. I've never been outside of Europe or Australia, and suddenly I was thrown into the chaos, heat and energy of Southeast Asia. So truth be told, I didn't even plan to go. My mate Mike Butland, who's been on the podcast, you can check out his episodes, wanted to spend 3 months in Southeast Asia before heading to Australia, New Zealand and Fiji for 3 months. And I just winged it, not really knowing what to expect, where we were going to go, what our plan was, but I thought, why not? Let's extend that part of the trip by an extra 3 months. So in total, it was 6 months from leaving London to arriving into Australia and to start work again on my work visa. So in this episode, I'm pulling out 8 key moments from that original week in Bangkok and that episode, and I'm revisiting them with a 2025 lens and sharing how the city and my perspective has changed from those carefree days in 2013 to the present day. In 2025, I wanted to recreate my steps from those days in 2013, so let's see how I get on. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Winging It Travel Podcast, your weekly ticket to the world, dropping every Monday and hosted by me, James Hammond, proudly part of the Voyescape Network. This is a travel podcast that throws out the itinerary and dives straight into the raw, real, and unpredictable essence of global exploration, chasing moments over milestones, those spontaneous encounters, immersive sounds, and unforgettable stories. Whether I'm hiking up volcanoes in Guatemala or camping under the stars in British Columbia. I've met incredible people, seen breathtaking places, and collected unforgettable stories. I now get to share them with you alongside some of the most diverse and well-travelled guests from around the world. Expect engaging conversations that bring fresh perspectives and inspiring travel tales. There are also raw, reflective solo episodes where I share personal insights, practical tips, and honest stories from the road. This is a podcast for travellers, dreamers, backpackers, and anyone who's ever thought, what if I just went for it and travelled? If you're looking for stories to tell, tips to share, and experiences to inspire, then you're in the right place. There's so much travel content coming your way, it might just spark that trip you've been dreaming about for years. You can find Winging It and more fantastic travel podcasts from around the world at voyescape.com. The link is in the show notes. Let's go and explore the world. Hello and welcome to the Winging It podcast, episode 2, 1 week in Lubdi. So before we crack on with Lubdi, thanks for your comments on the first episode. More of a rallying call to get that inner traveller bursting out of you and maybe get some traction with some plans, some changes and some travel ideas for the future. Thanks for the downloads, thanks for the feedback. You can catch the episode on all platforms and also my website. I pop it on there as well. And tune into the newsletters. Newsletters I'm doing twice a week. Tuesday and Fridays, really random, no real order to them, just what I feel like writing about from my experiences the last 10 years, I guess. So you can sign up there on the website too. Looking forward to getting this one done today because this might give you a bit of an insight into what life is like in Bangkok and at this hostel, and as a traveller as well. Hopefully some ideas will come your way and also some things that are slightly controversial which you may want to avoid. So let's crack on. Where and what is Lubdi? Well, Lubdi is one of my favourite hostels in the world, if not the favourite. It is based in Bangkok. The one I stayed at is off Silom Road. So Silom Road probably means nothing to many people, but a landmark there that may pique your interest is the Hangover Hotel. It is where they filmed the Hangover film. A great little place you can go to, and I'll come to that a bit later on. So the hostel is off Silom Road, down the street, and it is essentially a great hostel for backpackers and even arguably some older clientele. So getting to Lubdi from the airport was pretty painless. But Bangkok, when you first land, it's quite hard to describe. It is hot. There's a smell. I can't really describe it. It's busy. It is constantly noisy. And for me, coming from, I arguably say, sleepy Norwich and a bit of London, a massive culture shock. So Lubdi was booked in by our agent at STA Travel. Rest in peace. I'm sure they'll be back. And we had no idea what to expect, but it blew our expectations, really. And when you arrive, you come in and you're greeted by the staff, and the staff are great there. They're quite a youngish crew, understand what the hostel's about, and they try and make your stay as comfortable as possible. And the rooms have great beds, great facilities. I think there's a cinema in the hostel. There's laundry, loads of bathrooms. Downstairs has a bar area, a communal area, some laptops and some computers. And back in that day, I did not travel with a smartphone or a laptop. So it's kind of, describe this really, I kind of didn't really keep in contact with the outside world. I mean, people who knew I was going to travel probably didn't have a clue where I was until I posted on Facebook. And that was quite rarely because I relied on hostels to have those facilities. So when you come to the hostel, a great vibe, very relaxed. I can't deny it, a bit of a party vibe, which we'll come to in a bit. This was recommended by our agent STA, as I said before, and she said she had a great time there. I think she stayed there 2 or 3 nights, but we had no clue where to stay in Bangkok, so we went with it. So number one in this first section is, of course, Lubdi, the hostel itself. And arriving into Bangkok, the heat, the smell, the chaos, the Lubdi facilities and vibe. I do touch on the no smartphone travel, reliance on hostels, talking to people, travellers, people who worked at the hostels, and had a social, communal party energy in that hostel too. So I'm going to revisit what's changed in hostel culture from my experience in Bangkok in 2025, and did I recently feel it was the same? So, obviously, different hostels, because Lubdi in Silom Road is closed, unfortunately, and locations are now in Chinatown and Siam Square. So it's an amazing place to stay for a young backpacker looking to meet lifelong friends and have awesome experiences. A definite party vibe, but also an amazing curated hostel, one of the best I've stayed in, for sure. And they have other locations throughout Southeast Asia, so do check out Lubdi. It is a secret favourite of mine. Now, the hostel I stayed at in 2025 in December was the Yard Hostel, which is in the Phaya Thai area. After much research, I wanted a slightly quieter area, but somewhere easily accessible to the main attractions in Bangkok and also to the metro. And the word yard actually means family in Thai, so that gives you an idea of the type of feel they're going for there. Dorms and private rooms available. I stayed in a private room as I put sleep at the very top of the most important things at my age, and that cost was 75 Canadian dollars or 54 USD or 40 Great British pounds. And this is a double room, so that can be split in 2 if you're a couple. So really decent value, I find. And that comes with breakfast and coffee in the morning. The dorms are half the price for 4-bed dorms, and they get cheaper as the more beds go into the dorms. So definitely slightly more expensive than other hostels in Bangkok, but you do get that quality with that price. And I absolutely love the hostel for its style, friendliness from the staff, outdoor and indoor space to hang out, and the closeness to the metro. I would say this is a mid-level type of hostel in terms of the backpacker vibe, the type of backpacker you're going to meet, not a party hostel, slightly older backpackers maybe, and a real mix of people. So I loved it, to be fair, given where I'm at in terms of backpacking. Now, in terms of those areas of where to stay, I think Silom Road is still one of the best areas to stay in. So please check that out for any hostels you want to stay in there. It's kind of chaos in the best way for me at the time. Busy streets, loads of people, nightlife on your doorstep, the classic backpacker energy where you meet people instantly, little roads go into little markets or little food places. It really does throw out that chaos vibe when you're kind of wandering around. And in 2013, I guess no smartphones, so we're kind of winging it down this road, trying to find somewhere to eat, maybe have a drink, and just see what's down the road, really. So there was no easing in, it was straight in to the chaos. Now fast forward to 2025, as I said, I stayed in Phaya Thai, totally different vibe this area, way more local, calmer, and crucially, much easier to get around. You've got the airport rail link right there, BTS connections, which is the metro, and you're not dealing with the same noise and chaos as Silom Road. So it feels more like a base rather than an event. So it depends on what you want. If it's your first time, I would say definitely still go to Silom Road or Khao San Road or Siam Square for much busier times and a wilder backpacker experience. and they all still deliver on that front, I think. But if you want something a bit more calmer, smoother, more efficient maybe, then Phaya Thai is probably the best shout in terms of an area. But Bangkok is huge, so many different areas, a bit more research if you kind of want to weigh up maybe 5 areas, but these are the 2 I've stayed in so far. So for me, I think I needed Ceylon Road back then, but now I definitely choose a much quieter area in Phaya Thai. It doesn't mean you can't go and visit Ceylon Road though, right? So next time I'll go and do that. We arrived and we stayed for 7 nights. Across the road is a cafe, and this local lady runs this very quaint but like rustic cafe, and she does pad thai. I think she specialises in some duck dishes if you're into that sort of thing. But the one thing she knows, and it's quite clever, is backpackers when they're hungover and they wake up late and it's like lunchtime, 12, she'll bring pad thai to the hostel. So you can go over, order your pad thai, real local food, and then you can go back to the hostel, sit outside with a beer or water, whatever you're drinking, and then she'll just bring it over to you, and then you take it back. And she'd done this for years. So that was a great source of local food on doorstep, and people were loving it, absolutely loving it. When I first arrived into Bangkok, into the Lubdi, bit of a nightmare. My shower gel burst in my bag. Now water, probably get away with it. Even any other liquid, but shower gel, sticky, all over my clothes, all over my bag. Absolute mare. Trying to clean it out. And that was just one of the first things that I had to deal with when I arrived. But you crack on, you get your stuff unpacked, try and recover from that. So when we arrive, we are probably arriving about 5, 6 p.m. and we're pretty jet lagged from flying from London. So nothing big planned on the first day. Got in, got sorted, got checked in, and we popped down Ceylon Road off to a market, and it's just off this road there, and it's a food market. And we thought, great, local food, get in there, and no idea what to expect. Tuk-tuks come up to you as you walk down, trying to get some business. You just have to ignore them and carry on. And we had a green curry, and it's probably one of the best dishes I had on that trip. And that was like day one. Couldn't believe what I was eating. So really fresh, Chang in hand. And I know about Chang is it's not regulated, so you can either get 1 or 10% in your beer. I'm sure that makes a very big difference in your night out. Anyway, crack on for that. Some food, bed early. Number 2, at this point, is the Thai food and street culture. In the episode, I do cover the pad Thai lady across the hostel in Lubdi. I'm not sure if she is still there because obviously the hostel's not there. I imagine so. She's a local person serving local food to local people. So the hostel gave her great business. She used to deliver across to the backpackers in the hostel. So hopefully she's still going. I had my first Thai green curry experience on Ceylon Road. We walked down the random street, found a market, ordered one with a beer. I think that might have been on the first night actually, and possibly even arguably up there with some of the first Thai food I've ever had. It was so good. And street food was highly accessible on that road, and it leads down to some great markets further into the centre of Bangkok. So I'm going to revisit in 2025 with street food versus modern cafes, and is the magic still there? It was a bit more polished these days with restaurants, etc. So my rule this time in 2025 was to mimic 2013 and not research any food places, and just pick one by the look of it, see how busy it is, and go for it. So on my day of exploring the Grand Palace in Bangkok, I'll come to that in a second, I walked a little bit off the main drag, went to a restaurant called Ban Ta Tien, and there was a wait to get in, which I think is maybe a good sign because people want to go there. And it was a mix of locals and tourists, but I just didn't want to judge the place. I wanted to get there, sit in there, order sweet and sour chicken for 90 baht with a Coke in aircon, and just analyse what I'm eating. It was so fresh, it was divine. You just don't need to analyse it. I think Anthony Bourdain says that when you go for cacio e pepe in Rome. Don't bother researching a major restaurant, just go to a local one, order it, eat it, don't analyse it, and enjoy it. That was pretty much the vibe I was going for food. But as it happened in 2013, this happened anyway. We had no smartphones and no idea really where to go. And we're not foodies. I mean, it was just like, we'll go in this direction. It was chaos. We'll kind of wander down here, ignore people trying to scam us, just take a random street, and let's try and find a market with food. And we pretty much did that all the time in Bangkok, apart from a few markets which we asked for in the hostel, and they gave us good directions to find them. But it was such fun. just randomly finding restaurants, foods, and all those type of places around Bangkok. And of course, I mentioned the lady across the road. She did duck pad thai for, I think, 40 or 50 baht at the time. I mean, that is great value. In 2025, I did meet up with my friends Laura and Paris. They're from Bhutan. I actually met them sort of loosely in a hotel, then met them at the airport, and we had agreed to meet in the evening for food. When it got to the evening after my day of exploring, I went to their area and we picked a random restaurant. We kind of wandered around. There's a few restaurants on street corners. We're like, we'll go for one that seems fairly busy and fairly local. And we found one called Anand's Kitchen in the Klong Toi area. And the decision really was, yeah, that looks good. Let's go for it. Why not? And we had Thai red curries, spring rolls, sweet and sour, pad Thai, an absolute feast for really the same price as the other restaurant I mentioned earlier. So an absolute dream. You're not paying more than probably 100 or 120 baht per dish there. And we just had a great time, chatting, laughing, getting to know each other, and also talking about travels in Bhutan. So my takeaway for Bangkok here is, of course, check out the main food markets. They are world famous and you've got to check them out eventually. But just give yourself some time to randomly explore random streets, pick a random restaurant, go for a dish in there. Don't analyze it. It'll be good. Trust me, the Thai food, and especially local Thai food, is one of the best in the world. And to finish on Western food, Bangkok is such an international hub these days that you can find a burger or an English breakfast or poached eggs and avocado on toast in a lot of districts, and it's not hard to find. A sign of the times, but it's great if you need a break from Southeast Asian food or rice in general. So what I'm saying is there is Western food if you need it in Bangkok. It's not as hard to find as back in the day. But Thai food, my word, my favourite in the world. Just order anything. You'll love it. Oh, get me back. Up next day, first day exploring. So we knew that we want to go and see the reclining Buddha the first day. And we knew how to get a public boat. The public boat on the main river in Bangkok has an orange flag. So you know this is not a scam boat. This is not a tourist boat, if you like. Local boat. All locals get on there to go to work, school, etc. But to get there, you have to walk down Silom Road, probably 15, 20 minutes, straight down to the waterfront. And we thought, you know what? We'll walk and just take in the sights. And then some geezer comes up in his tuk-tuk, says, oh, do you want to ride down to the river to get the boat? And we're like, oh, yeah, great. I can see what you're thinking already. So we pop in this tuk-tuk. And we know it's probably going to be 5, 10 minutes at most to get down there with traffic. 20 minutes goes by. Oh, Mike, who I'm traveling with at the time, I have no idea where we are. And I've got a feeling we're not going to the public boat. And he's like, yeah, I know. We ride it out and then we arrive to the stop. And he goes, oh, we're here. I was like, oh, is that the public boat? He goes, yeah, I got a public boat. He goes, well, it's a private boat. We're like, no, we don't want a private boat. We want a public boat. He's like, no, this is better money, better stuff for your money. Like, go here. We're like, no, we just want the public boat. And he started to get a bit agitated with us. And we obviously started to get a bit annoyed. And he started charging us for the tuk-tuk ride and then for the boat. So the public boat cost 10, 20 baht, which is probably, at the time, 50p, maybe 40p. This guy wanted like a couple of quid. And we're like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that a lot. But the point here is that he was trying to scam us. And we knew straight away. And the problem we had is we had no map, no phone, nothing to guide us. And we had no idea where we were in Bangkok. So this guy was not really taking no for an answer. So the only thing we could do here, and we knew we were getting scammed at this point, and we kind of laughed about it at the time, give the guy some money, 50 baht, and just walk off, because what can you do? So we gave him 50 baht. He asked where we're going. We said, I don't really know. We're just going to walk off. And he started shouting at us. And then we kind of said, look, it's not what we want. Gave him some money, walked off. No idea where we were. So we had to go to this local shop, I think, and see where we were in Bangkok. And they kind of said, yeah, you're about an hour walk from the reclining Buddha. Oh, man, in the heat as well. So off we went on our foots and went to the reclining Buddha. And it probably took about an hour. Sweltering heat, hot Bangkok. But we got there and this amazing statue is this reclining Buddha is obviously on his elbow, laying into the side. And unbelievable view. You can't really grasp how big that is. So the reclining Buddha in Bangkok is definitely something to go and see. Okay, number 3 is tuk-tuk scams and navigating Bangkok. In the original episode, I talked about the tuk-tuk scam to the private boat. That was one of the many scams I think we had in tuk-tuks. No maps or phones. So very vulnerable, I think. And walking for hours in the Bangkok heat trying to find our way. out of certain situations. So I guess the question is, what is it like now? I mean, my word, what a change from 2013 to 2025. So on this trip, I mainly walked and used Grab and the metro. They were my 3 ways of traveling around. I didn't use the boat on the river this time. I did not use tuk-tuks like I did in 2013. I think I deep down want to leave those stories as they were and not try and recreate them actually. I know I was trying to retrace my steps, but I think there were such unique circumstances. I thought, you know what? They were funny, young at the time, very naive. Let's just leave them where they are and move on to more experienced times. Because we got in so many situations at that time and they're actually stressful in the moment, but funny to look back on. So I thought, yeah, I'll leave that as it is. These days, the youngsters all have apps and smartphones, so transporting yourself is much more accessible. I even ordered a Grab from the airport to my hotel, which cost 400 baht, which is around 17 Canadian dollars or 12 US dollars or £9. Super easy to arrange. You get into the airport, go on the Grab app, pick your location on the app, order the Grab and go wait outside. So you do need the Grab app on your phone for Bangkok if you're looking to get into this type of travel. So I don't think Bangkok has lost its chaos. I think if you go to Siem Square or Khao San Road, there's going to be tuk-tuks about trying to coerce you in to going somewhere. So I think you can get that experience if you're young and want to give that a go. But just modernization has taken over, right? We've got apps. You can order even tickets online in terms of the metro or even getting the train from the airport into the centre. So I do think it's much easier now to travel and not have that chaos and experience that I had in 2013. And also the public boat, I didn't give it a go this time. So next time I go back, I will go back onto the public boat. I think it's the orange flag. It used to be 10 or 15 baht back in 2013. That's a cool and fun way to travel throughout Bangkok as well. So I would say go to the city, go and wing it. Don't be too scared to jump in tuk-tuks and just see what you can find in this amazing city. So after the first day, tick, got scammed. I think it's a classic in Southeast Asia. Happens once or twice. But first day in, got it ticked off. Back to the hostel for the first proper time for the first night. We actually met some people. This section is going to be the people that we met. We probably over the 7 nights met 12 to 15 people that we would consider keep in contact and see where we go on this journey around Southeast Asia. In Southeast Asia, you have 2 kind of routes. Bangkok, you can go east and go to Cambodia and then on to Vietnam, South Vietnam and make your way up. And then across the Laos at the top, across to Chiang Mai, North Thailand, and then back down again, which is the route that we took. But a lot of people stay in Thailand, go up to Chiang Mai, up to Pai and Chiang Rai, and then make their way across Laos into northern Vietnam and down the coast. So whatever way people go, you're going to bump into them at some point. And we did. We bumped into people in Malaysia, in Vietnam, and also in New Zealand by keeping in contact. So the people we met were brilliant and we had so many good laughs and nights out. I'll come to in a bit. But Lub D is definitely a place to meet people. So you grab a beer, you nip down the shop, down the local shop. You wouldn't buy a beer from Lub D because they're quite extortionate. You go down to the local, I guess off license, grab your Chang. And the bottles of Chang are not your small bottles you get here. They're kind of like a litre almost. Get your Chang, take the risk with how much percentages are in the alcohol content, and then you crack on. So at the front, people from Canada, New Zealand, Australia, UK as well, South Korea, Japan, all these people that we met at the front, having a laugh and getting a bit boozed up. So when you go to the hostel and you have your beers, you're probably 3 or 4 hours in, you've got kind of a choice where to go. And a lot of people would probably go to Khao San Road, which is a 24-hour party street. And I'll come to Khao San Road in more depth a bit later. So we would obviously decide where to go in the night and then crack on. But also we want to go and see some stuff during the day. So we didn't want to go too hard that night. But we got a few Changs down us, got used to the hostel and the vibe and the people. And that first night, we actually made plans for the next day. Number 4, hostels, social life and backpacking routes. A quick one for this one. So as I covered in this episode, the whole episode really is about meeting 10 to 15 travellers in Lub D and Bangkok. And I explained the Southeast Asia routes and then the pre-drinks, the beers outside the hostel, etc. So in 2025, do travellers still connect like this? Has backpacking become more structured? So personally, the hostel that I stayed in, the Yard, wasn't that type of vibe. There are people there, a whole mix of younger and older backpackers, but maybe not the chaos and the party vibe of Love D. So I do still think there is ways to connect with travellers and be present, but the younger generation do have phones these days, and my generation too. And I think it's very easy to sit in the aircon, sit in the shade at breakfast and just be on your phone, unfortunately. I do wonder how that's having an impact on travel as a whole. Something to investigate, I think. But I didn't see too much of that. I'm just saying that's what I've seen in hostels throughout my travels in the last 5 years, I'd say. Back in 2013, we would speak to obviously the hostel workers because we want to get their advice on where to go, how to get tickets. Also fellow travellers as well, trying to get bus tickets to Cambodia or try and find an office that sells us bus tickets. It was actually a bit like the Wild Wild West. I mean, there was the internet at the hostel on computers. You could log in, but there wasn't much information in those days. So it really was talking to people and asking, how do you do it? And obviously no phones, no smartphones at all. So the backpacking route is still going. I mean, people are still going around the same ways. From Bangkok, you can go towards the Cambodia border, but just beware of the troubles there recently. And of course, there's the other way, going up to Chiang Mai or down towards the border of Malaysia. I do still think travellers do that circle. I've done it twice. I would highly recommend it. It's a great backpacking route. You meet so many people doing the same things. Lots of shared experiences. But this time, like I said earlier, I met my friends from Bhutan, Laura and Paris, and we agreed to meet in the evening for a beer and dinner, which was awesome. Gave me a bit of that connecting like last time in 2013 with some old travel buddies, talking about travel, Bhutan, Bangkok, their honeymoon, their trip, which I was jealous of actually at the time, and just that interaction you have with fellow travellers. So just to say, really, that a hostel social life is basically what you make of it and where you stay. There are party hostels in Koh San Road, I'd imagine, CM Square, even Love D's hostels now are party hostels, so you are going to meet those type of people. But if you're a bit older like me, maybe you need a bit more quieter hostel to mix with people still, but not have that chaos going on if you don't need it. And finally, I'll say that backpacking routes, yes, overland, making your way overland to different countries or staying in Thailand, but also Bangkok is a centre for Air Asia. So a lot of flights come in and out, going to various parts of Southeast Asia as well. So do bear that in mind. That is a very busy hub of travellers from across the board. So you're bound to meet someone who's travelling to somewhere pretty cool, which is going to be the Grand Palace Day. I think there's about 6 or 7 people that were going to come along. Grand Palace in Bangkok is, I think, where the king used to live up until the 1920s. And it's kind of still used for ceremonies and events up until now. And you can go and walk around the grounds, and it's a great place to go and get some good photos and some bit of culture in there. Grand Palace Day was a super hot day, and it required going on a public boat. So the first thing we did is to not make the same mistake again. Went on Silom Road, popped down the road, ignore all tuk-tuks because you don't want to get scammed again. So yeah, we kind of got down to the waterfront, and we got a little bit lost towards the end, but we found it in the end. And yeah, the orange flag, there it was. You just walk onto the boat and voila, you come to the Grand Palace. So I went with Mike, who I was traveling with at the time, and another Mike, who we met at the hostel, and a couple of Canadian girls who were doing the same thing that day as well. Alex and Steph. And then what we didn't realise is, obviously well known now, is that these sort of palaces and places you need to cover your knees. Classic basic Brits, should I say. We went with the shorts and t-shirt, not covering any of the knees, sunburnt arms and all that. So we arrive off the boat, straight to the gates of the palace, and this guy says, "You can't come in." I'm like, "Oh, why is that?" He goes, "You need to cover your knees. If you go and see my friend across the road, he'll sell you some yoga pants and you can come in." We're like, "Oh, is this another scam? Dearie me." So we took the risk because he won't let us in. I'm not even sure if he worked there. He's probably the geezer's mate, but what can you do? Went across the road, and this guy is probably about 5'5", and he wasn't worrying about Mike, who I was traveling with, because he's roughly the same height. And my other friend Mike, who we met on the trip, was the same height as me, but a bit thinner. But when he saw me, probably 95 kilos, big lad I am, he's like, "Ooh, I'm not sure I can find anything for you. We'll have to search for the back catalogue." So we tried all these ones he had, because bear in mind, compared to me, a lot of Asian people are smaller, so trying to compensate for roughly a 6 foot guy who's not the thinnest, probably got his work cut out, but he found a pair. It was a purple pair of pants, and purple was actually my favourite colour, so there's no problem for me. Tried them on, and he could not stop laughing, this guy. I don't know what it was, but he was looking at me in my purple pants and just could not stop laughing. Anyway, loved it. They fit really well. I kept them for like 3 or 4 years, paid my 100 baht, 150 baht, and we're all sorted with these trousers. So the moment of truth comes when you come into the gate again. Is that guy going to let us in? And he just didn't even look at us, didn't even speak to us, walked straight in. So I'm not really sure if it was a scam, but I got some yoga pants for a couple of quid, and yeah, fair play. Like, that actually lasted a while. Walking around, sweater and heat, it really was a hot day. But you can go and see some monuments that are made of gold. You can walk around. It's a bit like Angkor Wat in a sense, but in the confine of the ground. So you go and walk around, take some pictures, and yeah, that was the day. I don't really remember much too. Just a quick pause in the episode there. If you're enjoying the podcast and getting value from these conversations, one of the biggest ways you can support Winging It is by leaving a 5-star rating or review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now. It generally helps the show reach new listeners and keeps the podcast growing. And it's free, and it only takes a few minutes. Alternatively, if you'd like to support the podcast in another way, you can also buy me a coffee over at buymeacoffee.com/winging it. It's a simple way to help cover hosting, gear, and the time that goes into creating these episodes. And I seriously appreciate every coffee that I receive. It's only $5. You can also head to wingingittravelpodcast.com to book your travel through my affiliate links. That just means that if you book your flights, accommodation, or travel gear through those links, it helps support the podcast at no extra cost to you. And it allows me to keep sharing these stories from the road. And finally, if you know someone who loves travel, storytelling, or meaningful conversations, please share the podcast, whether that's by word of mouth, sending an episode to a friend, or posting it on social media. It really does make a huge difference. Right, let's get back into the episode. Number 5, the Grand Palace experience and other things I saw in 2025. So in this part of the episode, originally I talk about the public boat that we got in 2013, how we're wearing shorts. You can't wear shorts in the temples. I think we all know that. I've said that many a time now. At the time, didn't know. So I had to buy some purple pants. And then the heat, the crowds, and the people outside trying to scam us when we go in. So this revisit is probably going to be a bit more about what it's actually like now in 2025. Is it still worth visiting, and how to prepare for such an event? But let's go back to 2013. I mean, this story was carnage back in the day. We tried to navigate the public boat. We finally got there after getting scammed in a tuk-tuk trying to get to the boat initially. We're wearing shorts, meant to wear trousers. So we had to buy some temple pants outside of the main gate of the Grand Palace. And we weren't sure whether this was a scam or not, but went along with it anyway. I bought some purple ones, wore them quite a lot actually throughout the trip. And a good buy in the end actually. We got to the gate, there's people trying to get you to buy tickets with them, guides and stuff like that. We just weren't sure what to do. So head down in 2013 through the gate and try and look for a human being at a ticket booth to really get the proper ticket. And we finally got in there, but there was hordes of people around. The heat, it was so hot that day. And we're traveling as a group from the hostel, so a lot going on. And honestly, the best time, but carnage. And what I will say, I don't recall much seeing the Grand Palace in 2013, because probably I was just pissing about with my new mates. I mean, yeah, we're seeing the temples, seeing the statues, maybe reading a few things, but honestly, we're just kind of joking around and just being idiots, really. But anyway, this time, much more calmer for me. I Ubered to around the site. You can't Uber straight to that road. It's a bit blocked off by certain one-way systems, but got off where the Uber dropped me off, and I walked to the main gate, paid for a ticket at the ticket machine for 500 baht, then walked around. Still very hot, still very busy. But like I said, don't remember anything from last time, so it felt like I was learning and seeing new things for the first time. Amazing sights of temples, golden statues and Buddhas. It's truly breathtaking. It's a must in Bangkok. And to add, there was a section of the Grand Palace grounds closed for mourning for a member of the royal family, so I couldn't explore it in its entirety. So it didn't feel as big as 2013. Also in 2013, we did visit a reclining Buddha, but I'm not sure it's the main one, which is called Wat Pho. So I'm not sure. So this time I was like, right, I'm going to go to Wat Pho and see the proper one that's on Google and see what it's like. And I walked from my lunch spot that I mentioned earlier, and 300 baht to get in, and it's huge. This reclining Buddha is gold, it's huge, and you have to be quite ruthless to get your photos and videos, as it's super busy with people, especially midday or just after midday when I went. But it is one of the top things to do in Bangkok, in the centre, 300 baht, quite good value, and one of the best Buddhist temples to go and see in Bangkok. I did love it, to be fair, but like I said, just prepare for people, the heat, and not having much space to get your content. The last thing I saw in Bangkok this time around in 2025, which I didn't see in 2013, was Lumpini Park. It's a huge place in the centre of the city, lots of walks, green spaces, little ponds to sit at, and you can chill out in quietness amongst the chaos of the city. You can chill out with some friends, do some running, exercises, eat ice cream, picnic, or go to events. Quite busy, but quite big, so I don't feel like I was crammed in to the park. And for a great day in Bangkok in terms of the weather, I mean, mid-20s, blue sky, quite humid. Absolutely loved sitting by the water in the shade and contemplating my travels. So yeah, 3 things this time in 2025: Grand Palace, Wat Pho, and Lumpini Park. And they are 3 things you should go and see. But there's so much more to go and see in Bangkok. I have a whole list of things for next time when I visit. When we got back, it was so hot that I think I had to have a nap. But we cracked on with the trangs and then prepared for the next day of festivities, should we say. And this is where, slightly controversial, but at the time naive, you just go along with it. We agreed to go along to a tiger reserve, which was 2 hours north of Bangkok. In my experience and in my research now, most places in Asia and definitely in Thailand probably drug their tigers or elephants or whatever you're going to see. And at the time, I was kind of aware of it, but I went along with it just to go and see what this place was about. So we popped into Lovedy, and I think the 2 Canadian girls that we went with, me and Mike, they organised a taxi with someone they met during the day. This guy would charge us for the whole taxi, getting into the tiger reserve was about 2 hours north, tickets, and then bring us back. One problem that day is the evening before, so after the Grand Palace, few changs, for some reason I went to 7-Eleven and went and bought a toastie. So a toastie was chicken and cheese, I think. Sometimes you just need a break from the rice. And unfortunately, I don't know if it's that or me adjusting to Bangkok, but I got the shits. So in the evening, I was struggling a little bit. We were going to bed relatively early anyway to get up for the day, because I think it was quite an early start. But I could not stop going to the toilet. And I was like, tomorrow morning, I hope I'm all right, because it'll be a bit embarrassing asking the driver to stop all the time while I need to go to drop some kids off. So I was like, okay, get a lot of water in me. I had no Imodium. See how I am in the morning. Next morning, get up, it's still going on. Didn't tell Mike or the 2 Canadian girls, Steph and Alex. So I remember going just before we left, and we popped in the taxi, and the guy said it's 2 hours, but it takes about 45 minutes to get out of Bangkok because of the traffic. I was like, I just need to hang on for 45 minutes. And 45 minutes was there, and I was begging him to stop, but I didn't want to say anything. But what helped with the journey was this guy had a back catalogue of 90s pop band, boy band singles. I'm talking Backstreet Boys, Westlife, Boyzone, NSYNC. And it kind of passed the time away because we kind of created this a cappella group singing these cheesy classics, and he was singing along. He absolutely loved it. Loved the journey up there. And he kind of got a glimpse of me singing Backstreet's Back. All right. So bit embarrassing, but hey, to get me through instead of thinking about what could happen, bit of a godsend really. 45 minutes in, he's like, we're going to stop, petrol station, get some petrol, toilet break. Absolutely sprinted Usain Bolt into the toilet. Could not wait to get rid of him. But I was like, it's the end, because I can't keep doing this when I'm at the tiger reserve, because you'd be out in the field, I guess, looking at the tigers or doing the activities. Another hour and a half until we get there. Again, bursting, running. And I think that's the last time I did it. This one's not all about my shits, but I'm just giving you an idea. Bangkok can give you that. A bit like Delhi belly. Bangkok can give you a bit of a Bangkok belly. Anyway, right at the Tiger Reserve, isn't that further? Tiger Reserve, 2 hours back, north of Bangkok. Right, first thing is this Australian geezer, his bald head, makes a speech to the whole group. There's probably about 100 people there. He's claiming that these tigers are grown up with humans. They're not drugged. They play with humans because they're grown up with them. That's all they've known. And he kind of justified it by saying over to the other side of the park was a wild area where you obviously can't go into it, but you can go on this bridge, have a look in, And he said, you've got all animals in there, tigers, etc. And they're just running about in the wild and you can watch them. So they're natural. And the ones that we're seeing have been, like, I guess, groomed to be brought up with humans. So, okay, he's getting his speech in. And the first thing you do is you line up. So in single file, you walk along, and then the tiger is like kind of standing there to your right. This thing's like, what, up to my height in terms of a hip, maybe a bit bigger. This thing's huge. Oh my God. He does, you can't touch anywhere else but here. And it's like around his butt, I guess, like around the back. And he's like, touch it here, little stroke, nothing untoward, and you'll be fine. So, okay. So we queue up. And I touch the tiger, and I'm like, I hope this tiger's all right. But taking that away for a second, I got to like touch a tiger. Like, where else do you get to do that? Bit of a weird feeling. Yeah, this beast was amazing. So moved on from the line. Next thing you do is take a photo of it. You know, a classic photo where you lay down, the tiger's laying down with you, and you get your hands on the tiger and get the photo. I didn't actually do that, I don't think. I wasn't really interested in that because I kind of thought, not here to kind of show myself with the tiger in terms of a photo. But a lot of people did that and they seemed totally fine with it. I guess it was quite, again, sweltering day, and they'd done it in the shade, so I guess they were pretty knackered from that. But one thing I did sign up for was feeding a tiger with a chicken. Not a live one, dead one. This required me to hold a chicken in my hands, and then tiger, who's kind of on a leash, sort of eats it out of your hand. Great in theory. I was like, how's that going to work? Because he could just switch and eat me. But holding his chicken, so I got to it, holding his chicken, and it's almost like I'm not there. He is chomping away his chicken. It's good that he knows I'm not really there, but not great, because how does he know when he gets to my fingers to stop? And I was like, I don't believe he's going to recognize my fingers and stop with these massive fangs and chop them off. So I kind of like got quarter of the way there, half a chicken, and I'm starting to freak out. I'm like, how do I end this? And like people were watching me, and it got to like 3/4 and way too close to comfort. Fingernails are getting chopped off here. No, I just dropped it, and he just obviously went down and ate the rest of the chicken. But this tiger had no idea I was really there. It's quite strange, quite hard to describe or even imagine, I guess. But this tiger was huge. Like, it's a proper grown tiger, eating a chicken off my hand. So that was quite an interesting experience. And then last thing we signed up to was playing with the tigers in the pool. So on my Instagram story and on my just general feed, I'm going to post some pictures from this week, because it's probably better to try and imagine what I'm saying relating to a picture. So tomorrow, when I release the podcast, I will release where we were, and it's in this pool of water, and these tigers come and play with you. And the way you play with them is you get a stick and a carry bag at the end, and you rustle it in the air. And the idea is they see this, they love it, they run probably like 5-10 meters, jump up and try and grab it. And the number one rule here is do not keep hold of the stick when they've actually got a bit of purchase on the grab, because they'll drag you in. And first 10, 15 minutes, didn't really grab my stick. They grabbed a few other people's. I was rustling it. And then to the left, just switched off for a moment. Imagine Messi coming from the right wing, and you're like, oh God, yeah, I didn't see him coming, and he's gone. This tiger comes running along, jumps up, grabs my stick and pulls me. I'm like, oh my God, he's got it. And the power, the sheer power was unbelievable. And he pulls my stick. So first bit of training I had at the start of the thing, released the stick, and he pulled it away from me, and he was playing with the stick and his carrier bag around my feet. And this happened probably for another 30 minutes. And it's weird because they don't know you're there almost. They're just playing amongst you. But they're playing with themselves, so they could swipe, and they can easily just catch you off guard or catch your leg. Or these are fully grown tigers. And I was like, I get a bit nervous here because they can just like swipe at my feet, or I don't know, put us in. It was really weird. And I started to get a bit anxious about it, and I started to get a bit annoyed, and it's hot. And it went on for 45 minutes, this thing, and I was done. I was like, wow, this is amazing, but not quite sure how this is really working. Off we done that. And then we went to the wild section, saw some wild tigers and other animals in there. And yeah, kind of reflected on the way back on the taxi ride. Just couldn't really work out what happened there. But yeah, got to feed a chicken, got to touch one, got to play with one. We'll never do it again because I don't think it's very ethical. I'm sure there's some sanctuaries out there that have maybe got something good on the go, but I just cannot believe that a tiger would just not do anything unless it's drugged, but I could be wrong. Right, number 6 is the tiger reserve that I visited in this episode, as I explained, with a couple of friends from the hostel and Mike in a taxi, actually. I think it took about 45 minutes, to get there. Pretty ill on the day, actually. I think I had the shits. And we got there and it's like touching, feeding and playing with tigers. You analyse that. That's not normal. And the ethics at the time did not think about, but I did think at the time it's a bit weird that I can stand in a pool of water with a little plastic bag at the end of a stick and goad tigers in to playing with us, but they're not actually attacking us. I think the closest I got to being eaten was feeding a chicken to a tiger. Almost ate my hand off. They're always tied. You stand in a queue. This tiger seemed to hug the person who's in charge. It's a bit weird. So basically what I'm saying is don't do it. No need to go and see animal tourism like that. Not worth it. You've got to change your mindset on that because it's not normal. And ethical travel awareness now is super high, as it should be. But back then, I was young, I was keen, didn't really care a bit more about what I want to do on my travels and see cool things rather than ask questions like, is this normal? Should we be doing this? Etc. So my advice is, if you go to Thailand, don't go and ride elephants like I did in Chiang Mai. Don't go stroking tigers like I did in Bangkok. Don't bother. It's not normal. And they are coerced into doing those type of things. So just bear that in mind. Think about it. Don't do tiger reserves. Try and be ethical when you travel. That's it. So after that experience, kind of need to let off steam. We plan our night out on Khao San Road. So Khao San Road, 24-hour party street in Bangkok. They're probably the most popular place for backpackers to stay. You can stay in hostels around the area. And on this street, you have anything available to you. And I'm talking anything. So off we go. Cocktails, changs. First thing I do, ate a scorpion. Pretty boozed up. Ate a scorpion. And then I thought, do you know what? Yeah, tastes all right. Ate another one. Ate 2 scorpions in one night. And I've done a similar thing in Vietnam when I ate a cricket. The weird thing about these is they're kind of boiled alive, I'd imagine. So it's exactly as you see it, as if it's live. And the eyes just look at you as you eat it. It's a bit weird. It tasted not bad. Put a bit of protein going in there. But again, when you booze up, you do anything right. So that's my first experience. And we went to a few clubs on the street. And it comes a bit controversial in a minute. So we had a few nights out in general. But this night out, we decided to go to a ping pong show afterwards. So on the way to the ping pong show, there's probably about 10 to 15 of us. Need 2 tuk-tuks. So we get the tuk-tuks, flag them down. And we ask them to race each other. We probably fit in 6, 7 people in a tuk-tuk. That's a pretty cramped tuk-tuk. And probably the weight was probably quite a lot, especially with me in it. But we offered the drivers, I think 50 baht each. I mean, must have been about, 500 baht? It's like 10 quid to the winner. And they're absolutely loving it. And these guys were pelting it down the highway. I'm talking like speeding the tuk-tuk as much as you can go. We're hanging on for dear life. Quite a good fun experience. We're shouting out and, people are watching us. It's quite funny. So that was a good experience. And my tuk-tuk lost, probably because of my weight. So we arrive to this little bit of a seedy area. No idea where we are in Bangkok. And ping pong show. Again, another controversial subject. Naively at the time, whether you believe this or not, I'm not sure what it is. I generally think there's a table tennis involved. I'd be laughing at that. I generally thought something to do with that. Anyway, in we go. And you get your ticket, you get a drink. Before anything kicks off or anything happens, not for the first time, I grabbed my drink, sat on a table, and probably misjudged my booziness / the weight of the table. And as I sat down and everyone laid their drinks on the table, for some reason, didn't want to sit on the seat, want to sit on the table. And the table just flipped and all the drinks go over me and all over the floor. And not for the first time I've done this in my career. I've ruined everyone's drinks. Luckily, the guys got us another one and we cracked on. So, what did I see? If you're not sure, I wouldn't really Google it. But I can tell you what I experienced, and it's grim. No other words but grim for this. We quickly realised, and I'm not the only one in this group at this point, I must say, that there are ladies here that have probably been taken off the streets. And what they do is they're fully naked on a stage and things come out of their bottom half. These could be anything from darts. So they fire darts into balloons. They do drawings on a piece of paper. And they obviously have ping pongs, as in table tennis balls, coming out, knocking Skittles over, all this stuff. And I could not believe what I was seeing. So grim. And I think third act in, we're like, what is this place? Why have we come here? I think we need to leave. And one of the last things I saw is, this is really grim, I apologise, but the guys who obviously own it, like the maintenance is they're clearing the stage, they're wiping the stage clean. I'm like, what is going on here? And one of the first things we saw is we actually felt sorry for the ladies. So we actually got some money together and we tried to catch a few of them just on the side, they're probably at the bar, hanging around, I think. And we split the money and we gave some money to them. And the first thing that happened is as soon as that happened, those pimps that own the club, all the guys come straight over and took the money. And we're like, oh, this place is grim, we need to get out of here. So quite early on, we called it a night and we're like, no one want to leave. And they got a bit arsey with us and it got a little bit scary at one point where these guys were like, nope, you can't leave, what are you doing? And I think it took a few of us to go, no, we are leaving. And we had to like bundle everyone out. And I can't remember, I think we had to like maybe get some girls out first and then we went out last. And no idea in Bangkok where we were, all pretty boozed up. So we have this tuk-tuk waiting outside and there's probably about 10 people at this point. I'm like, mate, we have no idea where we're staying. Can you take us back to Lubdi Hostel? And he's like, yeah. It'll be 50 baht each, says 10 of us. It's a bit of a trek, but come on, yeah, I'll take you back. And we're like, we've got no choice. So we pop on the tuk-tuk and it took roughly 30 seconds. Round the corner, there, bang. Number 7 is Khao San Road and the backpacker nightlife. In this episode, I talk about all the stories relating to eating scorpions, going to clubs, getting lost, chaotic nightlife, having tuk-tuk races with drivers, going back to the hostel, doing some questionable activities, classic backpacker party culture. Some of the things are pretty cringe to think back on, especially like the ping pong show, for example. Wish I didn't do it, but we did get out there pretty quickly, actually. If there's one thing we did back in those days, and we did some stuff like the Tiger Reserve, like I mentioned, and all that. If there's one activity we did where we thought, do you know what, this is pretty grim, what the hell are we doing as a group? It was the ping pong show, and we got out there pretty quickly. And it did get a bit hairy, actually, with the bouncers. I think us guys got the girls out first, and then we sort of just bundled out of there into a couple of rickshaws and got back to the hostel for safety, really, because they weren't happy that we left early, and we tried to give tips to the dancers, and they obviously took the tips for themselves, right? So not the best place. I don't know where that was, where in Bangkok it was, no idea, but not great. In terms of Khao San Road, I think it still has a reputation of being a party road, but I'm not sure it's the same anymore. I've read some stuff and listened to a few podcasts where it's not quite as chaotic as the old days. I'm not sure where the new going out part is in Bangkok. So would I still go? Probably would, just for nostalgia, but I'd have to be in a group going for a party, not just exploring in terms of culture, right? Because it is a street where you have a few drinks and you get the buckets and you have a good laugh. This time around, I didn't have time to experience nightlife. It wasn't that type of trip either. So I was traveling solo only for a few days. And like I said, I've heard that Khao San Road is not what it used to be. So maybe next time I go, I'll go and check it out for YouTube and a podcast and see what it's actually like compared to what I saw in 2013. Is it because the younger generations aren't partying as much? Not sure. Yeah, back in the day, we had an absolute blast on that road for a couple of nights, as you'll hear in this episode. Had a great group, great laugh, good memories. But nowadays, I'm more about culture and learning, as well as checking out great food spots and drinking great coffee. So talking of coffee, I do have a couple of great recommendations for you. Arabica Coffee Cafe near Yard Hostel. It's near the Cancer Hospital, I think, or the Cancer Institute. So a lot of doctors and stuff are in there, but great coffee. 90 baht for an Americano, which is the same price as what I got my sweet and sour chicken and rice at lunch the day before. Bear that in mind. And near that lunch place is a place called Take Aziz Cafe. I think it's a Japanese style, actually, near the Grand Palace. Amazing coffee, same sort of price. But since 2013, Bangkok really has come on as a destination for coffee. There's so many trendy cafes. It's overwhelming to research. Just pick a random one, go get a great cup of coffee, enjoy the vibe, and get some trendiness into you. But to finish, for Southeast Asia and Bangkok, I would still go and sit on those little plastic chairs with a bottle of beer and some food. You've got that scene in your mind where we've all done it, Vietnam, etc., where there's a couple of streets where all the backpackers or the tourists go, should we say, and you get like a nice bowl of rice and curry or whatever it is and sit outside on those plastic chairs in a little group with a beer. That definitely still is the culture, and I kind of wish I did experience that more. But maybe next time I go to Southeast Asia, I'll get into that experience, because that is pretty cool. It's pretty warm outside, you've got a great bit of food, you're hanging out with friends, having a laugh, and it's just proper culture, isn't it? It's great. So I do say, if you're listening, go to any of those countries in that whole region. It could be Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, Malaysia. Get to those street markets, those street food places, sit outside with a beer, people watch, have fun with your friends, and eat some great food. And we had to laugh because he absolutely made an absolute killing on that and done us all for a load of kippers. So yeah, fair play to the lad. Got $500 baht, pretty decent night's trip. And that was that. That was the end of an interesting night. Some guys got a Macca's in at 5 a.m. Fair play to the lads. So, to finish off with Bangkok, we were having such a great time. We didn't want to leave, but we had to carry on with our Southeast Asia trip. And we're kind of giving ourselves a bit of a pep talk, like, Mike, James, come on, let's go. Look, we're not just staying in a Love D hostel, getting boozed up every night. Let's go and see some more of Asia. So, we brought ourselves together and we're like, right, okay, Siem Reap is next in Cambodia. We're going to book bus ticket and get something locked in so we actually leave this place because it's too addictive. So we booked that in, and we agreed on the last night to go to that Hangover hotel, which I mentioned earlier. And this is basically the opposite of Koh San Road. You have to go a bit classier in terms of what you wear, and it's Western prices. But you go up to 63 floors, and there's a deck which goes out. So if you're afraid of heights, not the best for you. I'm not, so I thought I'm up for this. Jazz band, cocktail bar, in we go for one drink, and the view of Bangkok is absolutely unbelievable, and I highly recommend going there for a drink. You can't take any photos at the time. They wouldn't let us take photos. A bit strange, but well worth doing, especially on your last night. A bit of classiness there. As I say, that's on Silom Road, the Hangover Hotel. Number 8 is the final night and the Bangkok skyline from the Hangover Hotel. I do remember we had a sort of a blast out really to go to a trendy place for a change, for a drink, to say goodbye to our friends because we're going to Cambodia the next day. So we went to the Hangover Hotel on Silom Road, still there. I didn't get a chance to go this time, unfortunately. I'll come to that in a second. And a more refined Bangkok experience and more classy, I'd say, as well. So this is the contrast between like backpackery stuff versus a bit more upscale and a bit more reserved, should we say. I would definitely go back to Silom Road and to the Hangover Hotel, but I would probably do it a bit more properly actually. At the time, we're struggling to find clothes to go in because they have a dress code. We managed to get something together and be accepted in, but this time I'd get dressed up a bit more smartly. Probably go for dinner near the Hangover Hotel and go up there for a drink and some jazz with a great view over the city. But I feel my time in 2025 was rushed for sure. I only had a couple of days, and it does annoy me, but that was the reality for when I need to get back to Canada. So next time I want to go with no time constraints and see as much of the city as possible, including this experience. There's a few hotels or sky bars in Bangkok with a great view of Bangkok, so do some research, but the Hangover Hotel is famous for the film, for obvious reasons. I would love to recreate that evening in 2013, just sitting there with that amazing view. Honestly, I keep mentioning the view, but it's so high up. I think it's 64, 67 floors up. It's crazy, so high, and you're hanging off the edge of the skyscraper, really. Absolutely unbelievable. Jazz music in the background. Me and Mike studied music, so it's nice to have a bit of class behind us whilst we drank an overpriced cocktail and a view and hang out with our friends. So must do on Silom Road for sure. And for other experiences, there's heaps of food markets I haven't checked out, but like I said earlier, I just like wandering the streets and trying to find something random. I've never been to Chinatown or Siam Square. I think I've been to Bangkok 3 times, never been. So they're places I want to experience and check out, which excites me. There's loads of museums as well, which I've never been to. Loads of random little temples across the streets and across the river. And there seems to be so many people who relocated to Bangkok recently, which is interesting. So I 100% see it as my favourite city for sure. A great mix of chaos and culture. I would love to spend a bit longer there, stay at a local guest house or a hotel, and just spend a month there getting to really know the city day in, day out and see as much as I can, because I do love the vibe of the city. It's definitely a favourite. So I think when I was reflecting in 2025 on my way back to the airport, I was like, I haven't done as much as I like on this trip. It doesn't really compare to 2013 in terms of time and experiences, but I did the best I could. And I was actually a bit more templed out from Bhutan, so maybe seeing more temples wasn't the highest thing on my list, and Bangkok is known for that as well. But next time I'll go back, spend more time, plan it a bit more properly, and see as much as I can, and eat more great food, see more great sights, meet more great people. And that was the last night we're saying goodbye to some people. So we had a great week. We're going to plan to meet up with some on the way. But yeah, that was the end of a great week. Pretty sad leaving, actually, even though it's like 1 week in of the 6 months traveling, but had to get out because we'd just stay there forever. So that is probably my week in Bangkok. I hope it explains that there's a few things to see, 3 things not to see, and the type of atmosphere and vibe you get there. Bangkok is a bit of a culture shock if you've not been to Asia. But I've been there recently, a couple of years ago, and it's way more westernized now. It's like actually going home. So I'm not sure if you'll get the same sort of things. To give you an example, tuk-tuk's not really a thing anymore because you got Uber. Why try and barter with a tuk-tuk when Uber would just get you one place to another? I guess that's a bit of a dying art. So yeah, I would recommend going there and checking it out. To move on, or to conclude, should I say, I'm going to put some photos up of the week on my Instagram and probably on my website, jamesholman.org as well. And please get in touch if you've got any stories about Lub D or your experiences in Bangkok. I would love to hear them, or any more recommendations. So just to conclude, yeah, we saw the reclining Buddha, the Grand Palace, we went to Khao San Road, went to a tiger reserve, and also a ping pong show, which I don't recommend. Keep rating the podcast. I love that. Also, a deal of downloads this week. I really appreciate your support. Hopefully it's entertaining enough. I've got some great episodes coming up with some guests. So my next episode next week will be guest orientated. Don't want to give away too much. Where we get some people's experiences on record. So I'm going to leave you with a quote. And this is from Anna Quindlen, who's an American novelist and columnist, who says, "The life you have led doesn't need to be the only life you have." So after my rallying call last week, I sort of see my own life as in up to 2013. That's one period. So yeah, school, university, guitar, music, and it kind of shifted then. And now I'm on this phase from 2013 where I'm kind of doing that work and travel lifestyle. I'm not saying you have to quit your whole life and change something, but just a little change. Like you might just never been to Asia before and you want to get maybe a month in. Especially after COVID, when we've been working from home, you probably saved up a lot of money and or vacation time. It's a chance to go and explore somewhere, not just for a week. So Thailand as an example, you can spend a great month in Thailand. You've got a couple of great cities, Bangkok, Chiang Mai. Then you've got all the islands down the south, Koh Lanta, Koh Phi Phi on one side, Koh Phangan, Koh Tao on the other. And also you've got some smaller cities like Krabi and stuff like that to go and see. So if you think about a month, you can see a lot and you get a bit of in depth from somewhere, not just like nipping somewhere for a couple of days. So I feel like my 7 days at Lub D made me experience Bangkok to the fullest. And I think I would go back, but I've seen quite a bit already. And the reason I've done this podcast to finish on is that Lub D, unfortunately, is closed in Siloam Road. They do have another location in Siam Square. And they've got other locations in Asia, Southeast Asia, and Philippines, Singapore, Cambodia, etc. So I had to make sure they actually closed. I actually messaged them directly on Facebook, say, "Hey, have you guys closed?" And they confirmed they have on Siloam Road. So I felt like it was a goodbye to Siloam Road. It was a great start to my travels. Met loads of great people. I want to say thank you for the experiences for those people. I'm still in contact with most of them. And happy travels when we can ever do that ever again, which is 2022. Have a great week. Stay safe. Take care. And happy traveling in your mind, but in the future, out in Asia. Ciao. So to summarize, I said back in this episode, back in 2021, that it feels like going home, Bangkok, but it's definitely more westernized. And I said that tuk-tuks are replaced by Uber. So has Bangkok improved or lost its edge? I think it's still an unbelievably great city and it's still a favorite. Interestingly, when I did this episode 5 years ago, I said it felt like going home, which is still true to this day and arguably the country as a whole. But that could be nostalgia. It could change if I spent more time there as someone who is older and more experienced in travel. But there's only one way to find out about that, and that's to go and experience Bangkok for longer and more intensely. And when I recorded that episode, I hadn't been back to Bangkok since that trip, apart from the odd day that me and Emma spent there in 2018, but that was a really bad day in terms of weather. It's raining constantly and we didn't see that much. We went to a food market, which is pretty cool, but we didn't get out to see the sights. So now I've been back, I still absolutely love it. And my fears have been quashed actually to an extent. I still love the vibe, I love the people, the food, the things to see, the coffee now, the little streets that go off the major roads, the hostels and everything about it. Is there still a place every backpacker should visit? Absolutely hell yeah. Go and book that trip. Be a base in Bangkok. Love it. Get immersed into everything you can do there. And I promise you, it'll be a great start to the trip and a great end if you finish there too. So thanks for tuning in to this episode. A nice little reflection on Bangkok there. I do feel like I should have spent a few more days there in December to get an even more immersive experience, but next time I'll go and spend longer. So that's my biggest regret from December. But I loved going back, seeing all the sights, eating the great food and meeting some people as well and hanging out. Cheers for tuning in. Make sure to rate and review the podcast 5 stars on your podcast app. And be sure to support the podcast on buymeacoffee.com/winging it for $5. That helps production costs. And spread the word of the podcast to your friends for them to check out some awesome travel content on my podcast, Winging It, but also many other amazing travel podcasts on the Voyescape network at voyescape.com. And I'll see you at the next episode. Cheers. And that's it for this episode on Winging It. I hope you took something from this episode, whether it sparked a new idea, offered a different perspective, or simply let you feel part of the journey. If you enjoyed it, leaving a quick rating or review on your podcast app really helps the show reach new listeners. And if you know someone who might connect with this episode, share it by word of mouth or social media. It makes a huge difference. Head to voyescape.com for more amazing travel podcasts as well. And thanks so much for listening. And I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep winging it.